Before we begin today's proceedings, I would like to share with all of you a sad news. One of our trustees, Mr. A.K. Kedwai, who is a very well-known figure among the journalists, he was a former editor of the National Herald and had long association with Mr. Vajpayee and also with National Media Center, and was a trustee of the Media India Center for Research and Development, passed away some time back. He was not keeping good health also. So I may request you to pay our homage. We may stand for a minute.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shantir Bhavatu.
Well, it's very great pleasure to welcome all of you on this occasion of the meeting on the 12th memorial lecture in the memory of Sri Upendra Vajpayee. We are very happy to have amidst us Dr. Ram Punyani, who is a former faculty at the Indian Institute of Technology, Powai, Mumbai. While going through his biodata, I find that he is a very rare combination of diverse academic disciplines. He did his Visharad, which is equivalent to postgraduate degree, in Hindi literature, and then switched over to become a doctor, obtaining his MBBS and MD from Nagpur Medical College. Then he joined the IIT at Powai as a senior medical officer, but research was in his blood, and he started doing a lot of research on blood rheology and set up a big laboratory at the IIT Bombay. Later on, some major events which are happening in this country, starting with the demolition of the Babri Masjid, and also post-Mumbai riots, that he changed his course of activities towards the restoration of secular principles. He is presently chairman of Center for Study of Society and Secularism and conducts courses on peace and conflict resolution. He is currently engaged in the issues of democratic and human rights and runs a fortnightly e-journal, e-bulletin known as Issues on Secular Politics. He has authored and edited many books and is recipient of many awards. Some of the important ones are the Indira Gandhi National Integration Award, which he got in 2006, and the National Communal Harmony Award in 2007, and Mukundan C. Menon Human Rights Award in 2015. Today he will be speaking on a subject which is dear to him as well as to all of us, on challenges to Indian democracy. I am also very happy to welcome Mr. Mahendra Ved. He is also a very well-known figure amongst all of you. Many of you must be knowing much more about him than I know. And he is, of course, a very senior journalist. And although he hails from Gujarat, he made Delhi as his home. And presently he is the president of Commonwealth Journalists Association. So we welcome you, so Mr. Mahendra. So with the permission of Mr. Mehrotra, our president, may I request Dr. Punyani to deliver his lecture. Thank you.
Arunaji, Mr. Chairman, and dear friends. First of all, I pay my homage to Upendra Vajpayee for the courage and dynamism which he injected into journalism. And I'm very glad that in his memory we are also having this type of activity, plus the institute which looks into the issues related to journalism. And in current times, who will know more than us the importance of independent, upright, honest media than others in the world? When we are talking about challenges to Indian democracy, I am sure, at least I believe that one of the major challenges which has afflicted us is due to the weakness of the media, which has buckled under the pressure of forces, which roughly, of course, one can use various words. Fundamentalist, in a way, is a broad word. Communalism is another word. So, under the pressure of fundamentalism, communalism, a large section of our media has buckled. And the basic responsibility of media to be the conscience of the society, to keep raising questions, to keep asking the questions to the power, has been inverted into keep criticizing the opposition, which is asking the questions to the power. So that time, people like Upendra Vajpayee are missed much more than before, because I'm sure that had our media been as effective, as powerful as it should be in a democracy, the type of things and violations which we are witnessing in the democratic rights, human rights, probably would have been less at least. Now, when we talk of challenges to Indian democracy, of course, I'm not going to talk of democracy in general. I'll focus myself on challenges to Indian democracy. And as I was being introduced, of course, I'm very thankful for the generous introduction given about me. But that also shows, I want to reflect from that as to how I kept changing or adding on things to my kitty, from a medical doctor to a biomedical engineering to then coming and talking about human rights, social issues. That is, in a way, may sound mysterious, but to me it had been a very deep internal process. Because apart from my own life, I felt that I should contribute something to the society. And my first understanding was that society should be transformed towards a better society, and a better society is one where equality is a central value of our society. So that was my first understanding. And the second understanding which came was that this equality can be brought only in a democratic system. So that's where I connect up democracy. And the third missing aspect of this is that this change can be brought in by voices from the society, best articulated by social movements and the media, which can take us towards the path of equality in the society as such. Now, of course, it's a long story. What is ailing our democracy? What is weakening? What is the weak point of our democracy? A lot of things can be said about that. But mostly we are all aware as to what type of situation we have been facing from last 25 years in general, and last 5, 6, 10 years in particular. The type of things which have come up has definitely weakened our democracy. And when I say democracy, I do link up Indian democracy deeply with Indian constitution. I mean, to me, they are two sides of the same coin. And Indian democracy's values are articulated through the Indian constitution. And that, of course, as all of us know, liberty, equality, fraternity. That's the basic dictum on which we are supposed to operate. And India, like, of course, I was very happy when he said that I am working for secularism. And I do say I am working for secularism, despite the times when secularism is supposed to be a disease. Many of them are trying to say, oh, secularism, this is secularism. That's how they have a very evil genius creativity has been put in to to denigrate this word, but I honestly believe that secularism and democracy anywhere are inseparable in practice. There cannot be a democracy without secularism, and there cannot be secularism without democracy by and large. That's what I hold. And in this context, what really shook me was the demolition of Babri Mosque. Like, of course, it was already 27 years over, and people like us are trying to struggle. How come this very demolition of a mosque in broad daylight, like thefts, I thought, take place during the darkness of the night. Crimes take place in the darkness of the night. But here in the dark, broad daylight, a crime was committed against our democratic values, and that was that a mosque was demolished. Of course, honestly, I must say, I am not for one religion, I am not for other religion. I, on the lines of Gandhi, believe all religions have contributed a lot to the journey of human society. Most of the religions have contributed human values, something which finally is culminating into values of equality as enunciated in our Indian Constitution, and to take a step further, even in the documents which many of us have forgotten, like United Nations Charter of Human Rights. So this today, when we are talking of United Nations Charter of Human Rights, Indian Constitution, I hold that these were the religions who in the primary sense talked of humanism, who in primary sense talked of love for humanity as being the essence of particular human society. So it is in this light then when we see demolition of Babri Mosque, then a violence against religious minorities. Of course, this violence against religious minorities is, I think, the biggest symbol of weakness of a democracy. I do hold there are many types of crime going on in the country. But how does one judge the health of democracy of a country? So to me, it is the security of minorities as one of the parameters, as one of the litmus tests for the democracy in a particular country. And of course, then when I start seeing that what is happening to religious minorities in India, what is happening to Dalits, the low caste, what is happening to the security of women, what is happening to the rights of Adivasis. So there is a wholesale attack, there's an all-round attack on these vulnerable sections of society. As far as their struggle towards equality is concerned. Of course, I do understand. Our society is unequal. I do hold democracy is not a constant value. Democracy is a journey. We are in a state of society where democratic values are there, but they are not fully seeped in. So what is what does democracy means? Democracy means that from the present state of inequality, from the present state of theoretical equality, a journey towards substantive equality. That's why I understand by democracy. So we are formally democratic, but in real sense, the percentage of democracy is small, and the whole process of democracy basically means that we strive to become more democratic, substantively more equal in conceptual and all that. So in that, of course, whatever is happening, some examples I'll take as this temporary thing, and one of the thing is the violation of the rights of minorities. Minorities, when I say, of course, all of us are minorities at one level. Linguistic minorities, regional minorities, ethnic minorities, in different sense, many of us do belong to the minority sect. But the real problem which has happened in the country is built around the religious minorities, and that has been one of the major handicaps and one of the factors which is pulling the democratic processes in the society. Of course, there are many things which democracy needs to tackle. Corruption is one, efficiency is another, deepening of the democratic process to the grassroots is another. All these processes are there. But the central challenge which I feel today, central challenge which I see, is because of this whole violation of the minority rights at one level, and it is around that a alternative nationalism is being put forward. That alternative nationalism which is being put forward has become grown very assertive, has grown very aggressive, and that alternative nationalism which tries to associate itself with Hindu religion in India is a matter of great concern. Right at the beginning, I must say that I am not going to talk here about Hindu versus Muslim, Hindu versus Christian, Muslim versus Christian. That is not the issue for me at all. For me, the issue is a secular democracy in the proper sense of the word versus a politics which structures itself around the identity of religion. Now, this is a difficult part to explain, difficult part to understand, but when I am saying that politics also does not structure itself around religion's moral values, because I do see religion has multiple components, and in these multiple components, the two central classifications which I draw, one is the moral part of the religion, morality part of the religion, which teaches us values like Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam on one side, a lovely value, love thy neighbor, and taking care of one's neighbor's needs. These are the values which are the deeper core of religion's morality on one side. On the other side, there are issues which are supposed to be part of religion, but they are more related to identity, practices, rituals, holy books, holy places, etc., etc. So this politics which is posing a danger to democracy in India in particular is not only in India. Of course, I must say in Pakistan, that politics under the garb of Islam has been much worse, much worse. In Afghanistan, it has been much worse. It has come up in Myanmar in very bad way. In Sri Lanka, it is also coming up. In Bangladesh, also it is coming up. So here, please don't misunderstand that I am going to take the side of one religion versus the other. Basically, I stand here for morality of religion on one side versus politics which covers itself under the garb of identity of religion. And that identity of religion, when I'm saying, even example I'll say, then I'll try to connect it up with how we can go ahead. Of course, I'm not going to recount what happened during last 5 years in particular, the particular type of issues which have been come up. Let's just take the example of Ram Temple. You must have all felt that Ram Temple issue, sometimes it comes up, sometimes it is taken back. Few months ago, people were saying, oh, how can we live without Ram Temple? We have waited enough. Now Ram Temple must come. Suddenly they said, no, now it is okay. Now Pulwama is a central issue. So that tune has changed. Now we can wait for Ram Temple. Our Ram Bhakti, devotion to Ram, chal raha hai. Abhi thode din tak chal jayega aise without Ram Temple. So how this all things are going on, and what is this whole identitarian politics which has been added up by something else also? And this, if we want to understand, during last 5 years particularly, these issues have deepened the divides in our society. As I say, if we take any particular of the three core values of the society, liberty, equality, fraternity, if we see, most of these issues which relate to identity of the religion, even identity of the religion, I have no problem. But when identity of religion is marshaled, is brought in at the service of politics, that becomes a problem. That's where the very notion of fraternity starts getting fractured. And of course, India has multiple reasons in the history because of which our fraternity last few years has been fractured like no time before. The type of ghettoization we see, where there are separate Muslim localities, type of things which we see in our schools, in our children, right from the age of 6, 7, or 10, people start thinking of Muslims as the other and all that which has come up. Of course, this honestly had not been the process, for example, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. It had been there, but the degree degree of is frighteningly worsening over a period of time. And this degree of which is frighteningly worsening is mainly because some of the things have become part of our social common sense, part of our social understanding, and some things have been deeply rooted amongst us to support a type of politics where these issues become very, very important. So what are these type of things which have been deepened in our mind, and how come this whole nationalism itself is being articulated in the name of religion? I must tell you, in India, of course, if we begin slightly 2 centuries ago, 3 centuries ago, it was not democracy. It was, of course, kingdoms. Kingdoms have their different logic. I'll have to talk a bit about kingdoms also, because in the very pursuit of demonizing today's minorities, we have also demonized the kings belonging to a particular religion. So if we demonize the kings belonging to, for example, I'll be a bit more frank, if we have to demonize kings belonging to Islam, Muslim kings, obviously we have to glorify Hindu kings. So Hindu kings versus Muslim kings, very interesting game. But what is kingdom as a system? The atrocities of kingdom as a system, the inequality inherent in the system of kingdom, that somehow becomes secondary to us. And so this whole game of Hindu versus Muslim in India has been a very dangerous thing to come up. And unfortunately, this has accompanied the development of Indian nationalism. Now, on one hand, there is a development of Indian nationalism. Parallelly, there has been a development of nationalism in the name of Islam, nationalism in the name of Hinduism. So that is how I will like to, I think, trace the journey. The dangers to today's democracy, the seeds of this lie in our process of formation of nation. And what was that particular thing because of which these seeds remained? What was those particular seeds which are assuming cancerous character in today's time? That's what I like to share with you in the course of this thing. And of course, today's democracy, when you see the people like Ram Temple, of course, these days is quiet, as I said, but something else has come up. And there is something called a cow as mother. That has also come up very strongly. Poor holy cow, killing so many people, killing hundreds of innocent traders and others. She out to rampage on this. So that issue came up. And then there is one case, I don't know whether you have seen that, remember that case of one Afrazul was there, Afrazul in Rajasthan. He killed one Muslim man, he hired him, and I'm forgetting the name of this man, he killed him, and he got a videotape made, and he circulated it. And he said that these Muslim men, they are luring Hindu women. Of course, you must have heard about love jihad. Two lovely words, love on one side, jihad on the other. But when they combine, they make an explosive mix of the negativity. Of course, what is true, what is not, and all that. So that came up. So love jihad comes up, cow comes up, and then Ram Temple is a permanent fixture in our political spectrum. What are the real issues which the democracy should be tackling? That is a point. And those issues which democracy should honestly be tackling relate to poverty, hunger, disease, illiteracy, employment, dignity, rights, etc., etc. So all those issues get lesser importance when these type of issues come up, which I try to understand as issues raising emotive pitch, raising emotions in people, and people blinded by those emotions, then they are out to kill people who are supposed to be eating beef, or who are supposed to be who are supposed to be the descendants of those people who destroyed the Ram temple, mythical Ram temple in the past. So these are, I think, what I will try to now directly articulate this. This is what I understand as communal politics, communalism. Communalism means basically a politics which is the biggest danger to the developing democracies. Communalism is the strongest challenge to development of democratic ideas. And not only in India, as I said, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, what have you, you see the post-colonial states. In most of the post-colonial states, it is communalism, either in the name of religion X or religion Y, which poses this particular problem. So to begin the journey in India, how come this type of a politics which today is making merry in this thing, in the name of issues like, as I said, Ram temple or cow or love jihad or ghar wapsi or what have you. Now, where do their roots lie? How they come in India? That's a very interesting thing for me to understand. And that, obviously, I must say, in India earlier, there are Hindu kings, there are Muslim kings. Christians being 2.3%, I am not discussing much about that, but these were the two major particular kings. And I must say the phenomenon of communalism was not there at the time of kings. Kings were ruling for what sake, we will come to that particular thing. We have to understand because they dominate our social consciousness. So we have to try to understand what were kingdoms. Were they structured around religion or were they structured around power and wealth? These are the two central things first we have to understand. And because after that comes the particular topic, how this politics got rooted in Indian society. So as far as kings are concerned, I'll give two lighter examples to understand that why were kings ruling? You try to think about it. Today, of course, one example I give recently, there was one government in Rajasthan, I hope you all remember, which has lost now the government change in Rajasthan recently. So in that Rajasthan government, there was an education minister. So that education minister, of course, must have felt, ki, what is these university professors doing all the research? I am their boss. How can I not do the research? So he did a fundamental research. What was the research? He said in the battle of Haldi Ghati, which was between Akbar and Rana Pratap, he said Akbar lost the battle, Rana Pratap won the battle. I got shocked because whatever I had read was something else. But anyway, I had not met him and I did not have the fortune to meet such a big man. Otherwise, I could have said him, I have no problems. You let Akbar get defeated, let Rana Pratap get winning the battle. But don't present it as a Hindu-Muslim battle. That is my only request to him. And then I will take him to the ground of Haldi Ghati. Very simple. On the ground of Haldi Ghati, battle is going on. On one side, there is a army of Akbar. Other side, there is an army of Rana Pratap. In Akbar's army, Akbar himself is not there. Now, I don't know what was the system at that time, whether if you don't want to go for a work, whether you have to take sick leave, casual leave, or you were just taking a French leave, I don't know. Akbar was not there. So who was leading the army? Army was being led by Raja Man Singh. And Raja Man Singh had many Muslim generals and Hindu generals under him. So this is Akbar. And Rana Pratap, one of his major warriors, his name is Hakim Khan Sur. So I get a bit confused. On both sides there are Hindus, both sides there are Muslims. So is it a battle between Hindus and Muslims, or is it a battle between two kings? Two kings. Is it a battle for religion or is it a battle for power? Again, I get confused, right? So this is on one side. And of course, you must be knowing from our Maharashtra, one great king. Of course, all kings I don't certify as great. Please note, I don't certify, but in our Maharashtra, one king was really great. And why I call him great? Because he was more concerned about the peasants' taxation. He tried to reduce it. I hope you must be able to guess his name. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Of course, we are not satisfied unless you call it full name, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Ji. That's the correct word. If it is short, we have a lot of problem. Okay, so some people tried to present, oh, Shivaji, he was anti-Muslim king. Of course, you know, one of the, there is one party in Maharashtra, no, Bombay, specializes in Bombay. And it was earlier more known for beating up everybody who don't follow their dictates. I hope you can guess that Shiv Sena, and so they tried to say Shivaji was anti-Muslim. Of course, fortunately, being a small man, I don't have to confront them. Otherwise, I would have told them a story about Shivaji and Afzal Khan. This story is used regularly to incite communal violence in Maharashtra. How do I explain? So Shivaji had once to go and meet Afzal Khan. Afzal Khan convinced him, hello, come, we'll meet. We'll we'll compromise, we'll do some adjustment. Very good. Always negotiations and talks are always good. You should tell your Prime Minister also. It is always good to talk rather than to say, rather than to pose doing surgical strikes, etc. Sorry for using that word. Talks are always good. So Shivaji Maharaj accepted, okay, I will come for the talks. And the condition was, you come for the talks, but don't bring any arms with you. कोई हथियार साथ में मत लाइए. So Shivaji said, okay, I'll come without any armaments. And when his friend came to know that Shivaji is planning to go and meet Afzal Khan without any armaments, he got alarmed. And in my style, he asked him, hello, you are going to meet Afzal Khan without any armaments? Do you know what is the height of Afzal Khan? He's taller than you or shorter than you? Obviously, he's taller than you. And what is his body size? Of course, in modern ready-made shirt language, if I say Shivaji wears the large shirt, what will be the size of a shirt of Afzal Khan? Triple XL, nothing short of that. So he will tell him, hello, he's taller than you, he's heftier than you, he's more powerful than you. Don't go without any armaments to meet him. And take, though you have promised him you will not bring the armaments, agree. So take a secret weapon. What is a secret weapon? Iron claws. So Shivaji hides this iron claws under his finger, this thing, what is it called? Yes, anguthi ke niche chupa liya. And the name of this person who suggested this to Shivaji was Rustam-e-Jaman. I am very surprised. The topmost officer of Shivaji was Maulana Hyder Ali. Shivaji's army had many generals who were Muslim in charge of his naval division, in charge of his cannon division, etc. Anyway, Shivaji takes that iron claws, and Afzal Khan has a scheme. He's waiting for him. And when he sees Shivaji coming, he pounces on him and he tries to throttle him. As he tries to throttle him, Shivaji takes out his iron claws, puts in his stomach, and Afzal Khan falls flat. And as Afzal Khan is dying, Afzal Khan's secretary comes out with a sword and tries to kill Shivaji. And the name of Afzal Khan's secretary is Krishnaji Bhaskar Kulkarni. So what will he do with the history which is so thickly interdigitated with Hindus and Muslim together? But still we see Hindu, Muslim, and all the discourse of course, it's not only battles which I am saying. See the whole administration. You may be remembering, before I go further, of course, there is a lot of story about temples that in India, Muslim kings, very bad. They destroyed Hindu temples. They humiliated Hindu religion. So that's why you may be remembering in Delhi, in our Delhi, the name of Aurangzeb Road. And they say, Aurangzeb, very bad, change his name. Of course, incidentally, I'll tell you a smaller story. Around 10 years ago, I happened to go to Pakistan for lectures like this. Don't worry, I came back safe and sound. Very friendly people. But there, as here we regard Aurangzeb as one of the worst kings to have ruled this part of the country. In Pakistan, I used to ask them, hello, tell me, who has been the noblest, most religious, and the best king ruling here? What is the answer? Aurangzeb. So same king looked at from two angles. So he once destroyed Kashi Vishwanath temple. Note, Kashi Vishwanath temple destroyed by Aurangzeb. I concede. Question is why? I'm not going into why. You can refer to a book by Dr. Vishambarnath Pandey, Pattabhi Sitaramaya's book on feathers and stone. Why he destroyed the temple, you come to know. But what is amazing that he destroyed Kashi Vishwanath temple, but he also gave lot of donations to lot of other Hindu temples. So what do you do with that? He gave donation to Mahakal temple in Ujjain, Lord Krishna temple in Vrindavan, and Kamakhya Devi temple in Assam. There is a full book on that, how Aurangzeb gave lot of donations to temples. So he gives donations, we forget it. He destroys one temple, we remember it. He destroys a mosque, we don't register it. Why does he destroy a mosque? He destroys a mosque in Golconda. Why? Because the king of Golconda, Tana Shah, refused to give him tribute, kharaj, or what he call lagan. Lagan, I think, हम में से कई लोग समझ जाएंगे. 3 साल तक लगान नहीं दिया. Aurangzeb asked, hello, what is the problem? You have not paid the tribute for 3 years. So he says, Huzur, mere rajya mein akal hai, there is a drought in my state, how can I give you this thing? Aurangzeb, very clever. He sends his spy and finds out that this king has hidden all his wealth underneath a mosque in Golconda. The next part of the story I need not tell you. What will he do to the mosque? Destroy the mosque. Why? For religion or for wealth? For wealth. Very simple answer. Similarly, please note, you are all, many of you must be from Hindi speaking region. There is a great Hindi classic book called Raj Tarangini, written by poet Kalhan. Kalhan in his book mentions that Raja Harshadev in 11th century created a special post designation called Devutpatan Nayak. What does that mean? Dev Utpatan Nayak, an officer who uproots the idols of the gods. But further, as a footnote, he says, hello, please uproot both those god idols which are made of gold and silver, which are studded with diamonds. Other stone idols you can leave for ordinary people. Very clear-cut distinction. Wealth for some, poverty for other. So that was the issue. And here we are very hung up. Oh, Hindu king, Muslim king, Hindu king, Muslim king. And again, in India also, in Pakistan also, they have made a discourse. Please note, I'm just giving India as an example. Similar type of discourses against minorities are built in those countries where communal forces are dominating. I hope you are getting my point. But we have to try to make India better. Think of Pakistan later. Charity begins at home. Think of deepening democracy here. And that's why in that particular spirit, the type of interaction which Indian society had, we try to forget. So here in India, before I go into how communalism comes in, I'll try to outline that there are three types of historiographies in India. One is historiography, communal historiography. इतिहास को राजा के धर्म के चश्मे से देखना. Communal historiography, how did it come into India? It was introduced in India by the British. Why? I hope you remember 1857, 1857 की लड़ाई. Who lit the spark of 1857? Mangal Pandey. Who came to lead 1857? Bahadur Shah Zafar. Who were the associates of Bahadur Shah Zafar? Tatya Sahab Tope, Nana Sahab Peshwa, Jhansi ki Rani urf Manikarnika. Right? That film also you must have seen recently. Hindu Muslims came together, fought against the British. British crown got shaken, and then they decided, if we have to rule in this part of the world, what policy will apply? Divide and rule. And that's how this communal historiography comes into being, where the statecraft is seen through the religion of the king. There's another version, and that is our idol, father of the nation, Mohandas Gandhi. Believe you me, this was one of the shocks of my life when I read Hind Swaraj. And in Hind Swaraj, few pages, Mahatma Gandhi tells us how Hindu kings, Muslim kings, fighting with each other, collaborating with each other. How Hindu Muslims living with each other. And his disciple, Jawaharlal Nehru, in his book Discovery of India, takes it further. He does not say that people tolerate each other. Of course, tolerance was a big word when people were returning awards. Award वापसी के समय लोग बोल रहे थे, हमको tolerance होना चाहिए. Nehru in book Discovery of India demonstrates that people were celebrating each other. Not just each other's festivals, Holi, Diwali, then Eid, etc., etc. Of course, those who are closer to my generation, they will recall one of the beautiful, very majestic films called Mughal-e-Azam. I don't know how many of you are fond of films and must have seen like film like that, Mughal-e-Azam, and that I am totally taken by the culture which is depicted there. Krishna Janmashtami being celebrated in Akbar's court. There is a temple inside Akbar's Mahal, in Akbar's fort. There is a temple. We are talking of temple destruction, Muslim kings destroying Hindu temples, etc. And here we find a beautiful temple. And how is Krishna Janmashtami celebrated? That beautiful song, Mohe Panghat Pe Nandlal Chhed Gaye. Can you beat that? Can you see the beauty of that? The type of interactive culture which India had. And this interactive culture which India had is a contribution of people coming from different religions. Our friend was telling me he was With Kofi Annan, he interacted. I want to quote Kofi Annan here. About what? Currently, there is a feeling that there is a clash of civilization. There is a clash of, translated in India, there is a clash of religions, Hindus versus Muslims. Kofi Annan's time, they came out with a beautiful document, Alliance of Civilizations. What does it argue? It argues that all the development in the world has taken place because of the interaction of different cultures, different languages, different type of things in the world. So today we are on a very wrong track where we are seeing history through a very negative, exclusivist eye. And one simple example, two example I'll give. Recently, just now we talked about Aurangzeb. Shivaji we talked about it. And I must tell you that there is a book by Professor Athar Ali on the composition of Mughal dynasty, in which he demonstrates that the number of top officials in Aurangzeb's court rose to 34%, which was highest amongst the Mughal kings. And of course, in Mughal kings, what is more remembered is probably Akbar. We hate him less, doesn't matter. Mercifully, we hate him less. And this whole Hindu-Muslim issue I like to demonstrate in Akbar's court. Do some of you remember that Akbar had 9 jewels in his court? Some of them are Hindu. Navratna, some of them, can you name? Birbal, obviously, he comes first. He used to crack jokes. Those cracking jokes are more popular, obviously, I grant. What about the next? Hindu, Todarmal. Todarmal, I remember first these days now. Earlier, I also used to enjoy Birbal. Achhe jokes sunata hai, bhaiya suno, yaad rakho usko. Todarmal was more important. Why? Todarmal in Akbar's court was doing the same thing which Mr. Jaitley is doing in Narendra Modi government. So what can you say about this whole type of interaction and the type of literature we have? The type of poems written in praise of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna has been a very favorite topic of our poets. Hindu, Braj Bhasha, Avdi Bhasha. And amongst those, one of that, 2 poets I'd like to bring to your notice who wrote beautiful poems on Lord Sri Krishna. One is Ras Khan and is Rahim Khane Khana. This is the past. Let me come today. Today, my favorite film, Lagan. Lagan, I hope you remember Amir Khan's 11, Captain Russell 11, 5-day cricket match, 4th day evening, people of village are tense. So if they are in tension, where will they go? They will go to the temple. Whose temple? Lord Sri Krishna. And what do? They recite a bhajan poem. What is that? O Palanhare, Nirgun or Nyare. O Palanhare, Nirgun or Nyare, written by Javed Akhtar and put to tune by A.R. Rahman, whose full name is Allah Rakha Rahman. This is my India, where cultures do not know boundary. Cultures so far were interacting and enriching themselves to the sky. Forget other aspects of the life. Of course, every aspect of our life, you remember, has thick interaction. When today I see people of all shades of opinion, I am talking less about Christians, but let me remind one thing. Most of us celebrate birthdays, yes or no? Yes. And what do? We cut the cake, we enjoy it, no problem. Every good thing is welcome, as our Vedas say, Ano Bhadra Kratvo Yantu Vishwata. Let the noble thoughts, let the noble things come to us from all the universe. That's what we do. And that as it is cutting the cake, I'll remind you of another beautiful item because of which my health has improved. Of course, you may not be knowing me earlier. And that is something which is available, which is associated more with our city called Hyderabad. What is that? Biryani, absolutely. Biryani, which came from Iran. It came from Iran, and like so many of our things, which something came from here, something came from there. Our good things went outside. Good things we adopted from outside. And it is this synthesis which created our culture, which is there. Today, we are looking at it through the angle of, oh, Hindu hai, Muslim hai. So I read some of the people saying, oh, no, we should not celebrate birthday like this. We should change the pattern of celebrating birthday. We should not celebrate Valentine Day. We should not do all those artificial things. Plants are being able to come. Anyway, coming to this rise of Indian nationalism, the foundation of democracy, and communalism, really nationalism in the name of religion. The whole story begins with the coming of British. Help me out. British came here for trade. They ruled here. They and they plundered. They took away our wealth. Now, while ruling here, while plundering the wealth, they brought certain changes. And these changes, many of them are good, partly bad. I don't see things in black and white color. Some things are very good, some things hide some good things in that. So, with the coming of British, three major changes come up as I try to understand. One is, of course, they had to take away our goods. British were the first rulers who ruled at the same time plundering us. Earlier, some Muslim kings came, plundered, went away. Other Muslims came, settled here, ruled here in collaboration with the local Hindu kings. So, but British came, ruled, plundered. And in order to plunder, three major changes they bring. What is number one? For transport, railways. Excellent. So for railways, because if from Delhi they have to take something, they will have to take it to Bombay. They will have to first take it to my Bombay. So earlier what was there? Bullock cart. Hindi में बोलेंगे तो बैलगाड़ी. They said बैलगाड़ी very slow. Who will wait till that time? So they bring in railgadi. Number one, excellent. Number two, British Viceroy living in Kolkata. And when he's living in Kolkata, he has to send letters to his officers scattered all over the country. I need your help. Who was carrying letters before the British came? Kabutar, very nice. I'm very happy about this answer. And one was this horse riders, but kabutars was a bit of a problem because they were specialists in carrying love letters only. So that's why kabutars pigeons were not of much help. Howsoever much we may like them for their great role in our life. Okay, that apart. Okay, so here there is a horse rider. British feel it is slow, so they brought in telephone, telegraph, postal system, which we will call as mail. First was rail, now comes mail. And third comes in modern education, very good. Modern judicial system, very good. And one the part of the judicial system is jail, right? So just to remember us, rail, mail and jail, okay. A broad thing, I'm just trying to make a capsule out of that. So with this, three major classes come up in the society. Now here we will see who are the people who don't like democracy. Who are the people who inherently are opposed to the modern values of liberty, equality, fraternity? It will be shortly demonstrated. So with the British coming, three new type of classes come up. Number one, businessmen industrialists. Tata, Birla, Bajaj, Singhania, Dalmia, who set up industries. Who will work in the industry? The workers, second group. And the third group, to which most of us belong, the modern educated classes, right? So these I call as the rising classes. What happens to the old classes, old rulers? Raja, Nawab, Zamidar, Jagirdar, the old landlords, the old kings, do they disappear with the coming of modern education, modern system? No, they also continue. So their power gets reduced, so I call them as declining classes. Now the beauty in a negative sense is that these declining classes do perceive the decline in their power, but very cleverly, very mischievously, they do not say that our power is declining. They say our religion is in danger. Please note this word you will hear from many people. Islam khatre mein hai, Hindu dharm khatre mein hai. Believe you me, religion is never in danger. Religion is not in danger. It is a power of some people which is in danger, and they incite religion to boost their vested interest in the name of religion. Anyway, so from rising classes, certain representative organizations come up. From declining classes, certain representative organizations come up. And from the rising classes, what comes up is three representative organizations. Bhagat Singh, Naujawan Bharat Sabha. Bhimrao Babasaheb Ambedkar, Republican Party of India. And from a group of broader group, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Annie Besant, Sardar Baldev Singh, and Mohandas Karamchand, Bharatiya Rashtriya Congress, Indian National. Please note the names, pattern of names. Don't tell me Shakespeare says what is in the name. We should go by the flavor of the rose. But I'm saying, please note the names. Naujawan Bharat Sabha, Republican Party of India, Bharatiya Rashtriya Congress. And what are these landlords and rajas doing? Are they sleeping at this time? No, they are very worried. What will happen to our power? These slaves who were working under us, these women who are subordinate to us, they are trying to get educated. Dalits are trying to get educated. Our system is getting disturbed. So their major cry is our religion in danger. So Muslim landlords, Muslim rajas, Hindus raja, initially they are together. They are initially in these organizations, it is only the landlords, the rajas. Later on, some middle class elements, educated elements also join them. And so representative character of here is one, of course, complicated. I'm trying to make it slightly simple mathematical sociological model. So here comes a person who comes to lead, you will be identifying that party, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Muslim League. And then Vinayak Damodar Sabha, which party? Hindu Mahasabha. Very good. Just stop here. Introspect. Naujawan Bharat Sabha, Republican Party of India, Bharatiya Rashtriya Congress. Muslim League. Hindu Mahasabha. Where is their root? Their root is in the declining feudal classes. The classes which believe that inherently, right from our birth, we are superior or inferior. And in Indian system, there is the additional factor of caste. Class is there, of course, the peasant class and the kingdom, and there is a factor of caste. And women, of course, regarded as a property of men in the feudal times. That's why there is daughter is given away in marriage, right? Son is not given away in marriage. Daughter is Kanya Dan. Daughter is given away in marriage. In different traditions, these type of words are there. So these values, when they start shaking, so here is Muslim League, here is Hindu Mahasabha. So these people, Bhagat Singh, Gandhi, Ambedkar, despite their many differences, we try to see the differences, we try to forget what is the similarity in their values. Please know, I'm trying to outline some of the similarities which Bhagat Singh, Gandhi, Ambedkar had. Number one, Indian nationalism. Number two, secularism. Number three, concept of liberty, equality, fraternity. And here, the fundamentalist, the Muslim communalists, the Hindu communalists, it seems as if they are the enemies of each other. ऐसा लगता है कि वो खून एक दूसरे के खून के प्यासे हैं. But believe me you, वो लोग हैं चोर चोर मौसेरे भाई, because their basic values are the same. What are those basic values? Basic values are hierarchy of caste and gender. And don't mind, I'm going to come to a bit to a present politics also. And we have to deal with politics. Politics is a part of life which we have to understand. So Hindu Mahasabha, and later on comes another organization, which of course I think is the biggest threat to democracy in India. I'll demonstrate that. I hope you can guess the name. Those who were wearing half pants earlier and currently full pants. You got it? Yes, RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak. What Rashtra they want? They also want Hindu Rashtra. Muslim Rashtra, Hindu Rashtra, Hindu Rashtra. So three concepts come in. And this side comes in the concept, India is a nation in the making. How India is a nation in the making? Because there is modern education, because women are getting educated. Difficulty is there. I'm making it very simple. It was very difficult. Dalits are getting educated. Average people are joining the mainstream of politics. So they say India is a nation in the making. And what will Muslim League say? Muslim League will say, what is this making business? We, the Muslims, are a ready-made nation from last 1200 years, 1100 years. Since when, sir? Since when Muhammad bin Qasim attacked Sindh, ruled Sindh, since that time we are a Muslim nation. And you'll be surprised to know, I laugh at it, this whole concept, that in Pakistan, they regard Muhammad bin Qasim as their first citizen. Excuse me, a king and citizen, he's being regarded there as a first citizen. And of course, not to be left behind. Those believing in Hindu nationalism, they said, what is this nation in the making? We, the Hindus, have been a nation from times immemorial. Anadikal se Hindu Rashtra hai. So please note, these are very connected concepts. Our concept is that society changes. Society changes. There was a period when human society was hunter food gatherer. There was a pastoral phase of society. There is agricultural phase of society, there is industrial phase of society, and with industrial phase of society, we also get the concept of modern nation state, giving us liberty, equality, fraternity, justice, etc., etc. So friends, Muslim League, Hindu Mahasabha, RSS, what did they do? They did not talk of the issues of the people. They will never talk of this. This is not issue for them. Farmer suicide, unemployment, not issue for us. Issue for us is mandir wahi banayenge. We want temple right there where Lord Ram was born. And cow is our mother. You find the whole history. Freedom movement, independent movement always took up the issues related to peasants, and most of our freedom fighters, Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, Mahatma Gandhi, they were peasant leaders. Please note, they began as peasant leaders. Many of the workers' leaders also joined them. But these people from this side, it may be Muslim League or Hindu Mahasabha, for them, emotive identity issues have been the cornerstone, the central part of their political agenda. Anyway, so just focusing a bit about this type of agendas which are weakening our democratic values. So on one side, emerging from a common minimum program of the rising classes comes in Indian Constitution, representing the aspirations for the future. On the other side, there are people who say Indian Constitution is not suitable for India because we are special people. We need to go back, and that's why you will be hearing last 5 years, at least I read number of times saying Indian Constitution needs to be changed. Let us come in majority. We'll ensure that the Indian Constitution is shown its path, and in place of that, we'll try to bring a constitution based on holy Indian books. Obviously, they regard Christianity as foreign religion, Islam as foreign religion. I don't think any religion is foreign or native. All religions belong to the whole humanity. That's my feeling. Of course, there are things, वो जैसे बोलते हैं ना देशी विदेशी, कुछ होती हैं चीज़ें शाम को लोग एंजॉय करते हैं देशी या विदेशी, पर moral values are all universal. Moral values are all universal. I don't think that anything is deshi or videshi. Right. But for some people, religions are foreign. For Mahatma Gandhi, religions were not foreign. And that's how he accepted all religion being to this part of the country. So today, friends, the threat which I think our democracy does, so far, we remain on the rational ground. That's why our constitution says we should work for development of scientific spirit. A very unique word which Nehru was very fond of, scientific spirit, rational thinking and all that. On the other side, there is an emotive creation of hysteria. So these two things are counterposed to each other. On one side, the needs of the society. On the other side, emotive issues consciously interjected into the society to split it. Like my grandfather, a devout Hindu, who used to call himself Vaishnav, never said कि भैया अयोध्या में राम मंदिर नहीं है तो मेरे को बड़ी तकलीफ है बेटा of course we are all fond of our grandchildren. I never heard from him the need for a Ram temple in Ayodhya. And of course we always used to feed the cow, but we never felt that those who are not respecting cows should be killed, etc., etc. So this agenda is dividing the society. Without fraternity, democracy has no future. And that is the danger to our democracy. And just to outline the type of agendas which have come up, even today, nationalism is being also paraded as an agenda, divisive agenda. Pakistan means Muslims. What have we to do with Pakistan? It's our neighbor. Try to have a good relations with neighbor as we try to have good relations with our neighbor for our own good, happy life. Forget the being good to the other for others' sake. For our sake, it is important that we have to have good friendly relations with our neighbor. But we have to create an enemy image of Pakistan so that on the pretext of Pakistan, some people from here can be targeted. That is the point. Question is, nobody can be military valor. Indira Gandhi showed it to the height. Bangladesh creation, division of Pakistan was not done just to split the country, but East Pakistan was facing the problem, and what Indira Gandhi demonstrated was something which was very majestic, what military can do, what a country can do. And now what is being projected as a great patriotism by this surgical strike, that surgical strike. I think that is a misuse of nationalism. Nationalism, we should all have patriotism. Patriotism doesn't mean just the borders. Patriotism means our loyalty to all the people of the community, all 120 odd crore of people of the society. That is my nation. And trying to do good for them, that is what patriotism for me means. But just bloating the chest on the ground of that, this is what is weakening our democratic process. So in the end, friends, just I can't go more direct than this, but of course I hope you have clearly understood that my concern is not, I'm very clear that it is not issue of Hindu versus Muslim. I must tell you, the politics in the name of Hinduism, has killed the greatest Hindu of 20th century. This sentence is from Jawaharlal Nehru, and this will be permanently etched in my memory. I distinguish Hinduism as a moral value, Hinduism as a religion, from Hindu nationalism. That is another cup of dash. I will say tea or poison, whatever you say. That's another cup of tea. And what we need today is to strengthen our democracy. And every that issue, now of course, I will not go into the electoral politics, that I leave to your judgment, but basically focusing on people's issues related to their survival is, I think, the key for a development of democracy. And of course, this is another thing also, like I point out, like our science, technology in India has developed a lot. I myself had the privilege of working in a very advanced science technology institute for nearly 25 to 28 years. And I can see, I can claim how those institutions were built brick by brick. It may be CSIR, it may be Atomic Energy Commission, it may be IITs, it may be all that. But the claims that all this was there in ancient times. इंटरनेट भी था, टेलीविजन भी था, पुष्पक विमान भी था, एरो साइंस भी था, और न्यूटन से ज़्यादा प्रिंसिपल्स हमारे होली बुक्स में हैं. दिस वाई दिस इज बीइंग डन इज बेसिकली टू रिस्टोर, ब्रिंग बैक द वैल्यूज ऑफ दैट टाइम. नाउ डोंट मिसअंडरस्टैंड मी. बाय वैल्यूज व्हाट आई मीन, humanism is one value, but by trying to pose the values of that time, the caste and gender hierarchy of that time, they want to reimpose. They want to say, we have a glorious past. Only because other religion people came, we got spoiled, and we have to restore our ancient glory. That's why Pushpak Viman, internet of the ancient times, that is just to boost that. Ancient times, everything was great. It was a golden period. I say, golden period of humanity lies in the future. Golden period of the future can come only through our efforts. Just by harping on, we were great, we were the teachers of the world. Why to become the teachers of the world? Let everybody be their own teacher. If we can teach our own children in our country, be happy with that. Don't have the claim that we have to teach the whole world because we are the greatest, etc., etc. I think that's a very wrong way of looking at the thing. So today, if we want to, last point, if we want to save our democracy, if we want to strengthen our democracy, we have to come back to the values of freedom movement as enunciated by Bhagat Singh, Ambedkar, Gandhi. I am not believing that I belong to this stream, other streams are bad. I believe in that whatever good I learn from anybody, I will try to take it up. Why? Because I want to enrich it. Why? Because knowledge is not local and focused in any particular thing. So one, we have to come back to the principles of the freedom movement, which talked of average people. And number two, we have to reject the politics of this emotionalism which has been created. And last one point I'll tell you. Before I end, this is my appeal. And before I want to demonstrate how hollow this whole emotive things are. Ram temple, I don't have to demonstrate to you. कभी चाहिए, कभी नहीं चाहिए, कभी चाहिए, कभी नहीं चाहिए. Thank you very much. Ram temple, if I would have asked Gandhi, he said temple should be in your heart. Somnath temple issue came up. Gandhi said state should not do anything about it. Society can freely do that. And what about our holy cow? Now holy cow, they are very serious about it. But I must say, wherever they have started Gaushala, cow sheds, There are reports cows have died out of starvation, drained in mud, water. Hingonia, Rajasthan, they have done that. Condition is not good. In UP, after this thing came up, cows getting starved and attacking the fields of the peasants, destroying the agriculture. So what is this cow business? In Kerala, you say, no cow, no problem. Cow part of culture. Chalne do. Goa, okay. Northeast, okay. So where is the problem of cow? Problem of cow is in the North India only. I don't know. I think I must tell you one interesting story before I wind up. I hope you know one of our prime ministers who was revered very much, who also used to write poetry. Right. Bihari Vajpayee. I was reading his biography. Haar nahi manunga. So the author tells us he was very humane. He used to enjoy his food and drink. I said, good, we should be human. Life is there for enjoyment. So once he was in a tour on a US, and on US tour he was giving lectures and having good food, etc., etc. So one day in one of the banquets, he was enjoying his meals. So his neighbor told him, Atalji, now I got the name. Atalji, ये आप जो खा रहे हैं ना, what you are eating is beef. Atalji, no problem. He smiled. Beef, na? It is not of Indian cow. It is from American cow. So no problem. So this whole hypocrisy, I see we must put at an end. I am not here to propagate for party X or party Y. I am here to talk about the values of democracy. So there are two type of parties. There may be good, bad, ugly in both sides. But parties which harp on religion's emotionalism are the worst. They should not be entertained in democracies. We have seen the condition of Pakistan. We have seen Bangladesh. And I don't know how many of you know, there is one great Urdu poet who recently died a few months ago. Her name is Fahmida Riaz or something like that. So when she was a part of that diplomatic mission staying in Delhi, when Babri Mosque was demolished, she was shocked, as I was shocked, as many of you must have been shocked. That time she wrote a poem. अरे तुम भी हम जैसे निकले. A Pakistani saying, we were like this, but we were looking up to India as a model of democracy. You are also turning on our direction. This is sad for all of us. Anyway, with this, with an appeal, with a request that let's stick to the issues related to this world. Let's keep emotional issues in the box for people. People are free to worship their gods, goddesses. Of course, we have no dearth of them. We are very rich in those gods and goddesses tradition. People should love their religion, but don't hate the people from other religion, and try to strengthen democracy based on the agenda required by average people of the society. Thank you very much, and thanks for patiently.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rampunyani. You have really delivered a very interesting lecture, bringing out in a very focused manner the values of Indian democracy, and in a very illustrative manner, which I should say, out illustrations from our history. Now I will request Mr. Mahendra Ved to give his observations.
Good evening, friends. Let me start by my tribute to Upenji, who was known to all of us, and my tribute to Ansar Kidwai Sahab, who passed away. He was very kind to me. After Dr. Punyani Sahab has said so much and so well articulated, I cannot add much to it, but I'll make some observations to what he has said, some of the ideas. Being a media person, he began by talking of media not doing its duty. And yes, that is pretty true, very true. What has happened in the last few years is a massive change of media not being Mahendra Ved or L.K. Sharma or others. It is the owners, and ownership, direct or indirect, has been taken over by a few people, a few in business houses, and they are under the pressure, whatever the reasons, to take the government line, to take a particular line. And so, with this ownership becoming shifting, reporters have not mentored. It's Sabka Malik Ek. So that is happening. So that is one, the old thing about the editor being strong and the reporter, these are all becoming pipe dreams. I'm not generalizing the whole thing. There still are papers, still are media people, still journalists who are doing a good job. And I hope they will continue, because there is still a lot to be done about it. Bunyani Saab mentioned Mughal-e-Azam. It is running in other part of India International Center right now. And I a little regretted coming here because I had to be here. And I missed out a certain portion of the film, which comes very late. And that is, Durjan Singh, Ajit Singh plays that character, and he rescues Anarkali, brings her. In the process, he virtually killed, he's badly wounded. And he is dead, and the priest, Hindu priest, he tells her that you have a last look at this man who saved you. And this character of Madhubala, she takes off her shawl or whatever, which is a symbol of her modesty, and she places it on the body of this dead prince. Now, this particular event really symbolizes that composite culture that is developed. And that is something that is been with us, and that is under threat. And these are issues that we need to talk about. These are issues that we need to really ponder, because what has been going on in the last few years, I may use the word poison, and the poison that is there, even if there is a change of government in the next 2 months, the poison will remain, and we need to fight that poison. I regret to say Prime Minister has talked of Pakistan dying its own death. Now, is this an issue to be taken up while having national elections about predicting or wishing, of another country dying? This talk of people going to Pakistan. In fact, I had wanted to talk about Fahmida Riaz, and Punyani Saab has done it much better. Tum bhi hum jaise nikle. Now we have become mirror image of each other, and which is the most regrettable part, because all these years we have grown up thinking that we are more respectful to each other. This Ganga Jamuna culture that is dying in Pakistan, it is somehow kept alive here. We were always thinking that we were a little better, we were superior. That thing has gone, and we have become mirror image of each other, which is very, very sad. And that needs to be, we need to do something about it. And it did not start all of a sudden. Every political party in India has played footsie with idea of secularism. The number of riots that have taken place, the number of people who have been killed. And cursorily, when you study all these riots, some of them, eventually the bureaucracy, the police force, the government, political class comes down heavily on one community. And that has always happened, and that has been the history of our riots. So again, this is another part of the story, and we are in the midst of an election where this jingoism, I'll use the word jingoism, that has been promoted assiduously and right at the top. And it is sort of now become part of us. I've traveled a few places and I find that people, earlier people who thought कि ठीक है senior journalist है, what are your views? They will listen to me and maybe they'll agree, maybe they'll not agree. Maybe they'll ask questions, maybe they'll argue. Now what is happening is they want to know my view, and before I give my assessment, they are already assessing me. And before I can complete, they are there to just contradict whatever I say. It's become very difficult. This discourse has become very difficult. This dialogue has become difficult. On a personal point, I can say that some people are avoiding me, and I'm avoiding some people these days because one doesn't want to get into clash, one doesn't want to get into fights. You come at an age where you don't make friends every day, you don't want to lose them. And people who have been your friends for last 20, 30, 40 years, suddenly you find that they are not with you. You are not left with these sort of things. So, you have a lot of, you've talked of A.R. Rahman. I used to write a column for a Malaysian paper, and I wrote about A.R. Rahman, and by sheer chance, 3 weeks later, he got his Oscar. So my editor wrote back to me that says, first of all, we didn't know so much about A.R. Rahman. Thank you for preparing it. They felt happy that they had talked of Rahman a couple of weeks before the Oscar happened. And particularly happy when I talked about, Rahman was born a Hindu. Dilip Kumar. At some stage, Dilip Kumar becomes A.R. Rahman, Allah Rakha Rahman. Part of his family is Hindu, part of his family is Muslim. Now, this can only happen in India. Nowhere else this sort of thing is allowed. Or take the example of New Zealand. Terror attack, and after that, the Prime Minister herself wears covers her head, goes to the mosque, and she is putting an end to this military level weapons. How the whole world has applauded this. Now, this is how a nation should react to a tragedy, not by dividing each other, not by fighting each other. These are some of the points I had in mind, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
May I now request Mr. Mehrotra, our President, to say a few words and propose a formal vote of thanks.
Dear friends, I stand here before you today as a disciple bowing his head to a sage that has just given us a sermon. When the heart is full of gratitude, the words are very few to come. I am at a loss to find words to express myself in response to a fascinating talk that we had just had from Dr. Ram Punayani on the challenges to democracy. I will carry with me many catchphrases that he has given us this evening. And I would like to thank him for reminding us that the media, and we here are a media research and development organization, that media is the watchman of the society. I would remember him for telling us, for reminding us, we all know the truth of it, that the power lies in the voice of the people. I would like to thank him for reminding us that constitution and democracy are the obverse and reverse of the same coin. I would remember him for telling us blatantly and potently that there cannot be democracy without secularism and there cannot be secularism without democracy. We must remember him for reminding us that the litmus test of a democracy is the treatment of minorities. We all know, as he has spelled out splendidly, that democracy is a journey in making. Democracy is not an achieved fact anywhere, either in the pages of history or in our own lifetime on the globe. It's an evolving phenomenon. It grows. It grows like an infant. I wonder, as I look at India today, whether we have grown out of that infancy. We will continue to grow. Our institutions will continue to grow and thrive. There would be challenges. There are challenges that, of course, our learned, erudite, eloquent speaker has pointed out. But India shall overcome. Thank you for telling us that as many of us see it today, there has been a deepening of divisions in the society. But we have to overcome that. Even those who have committed themselves to such processes of thought, let us hope, will revise their thinking. You have quoted Mahatma Gandhi many a time. In my very small way, I am a devotee of Mahatma Gandhi. But he not only celebrated dissent and differences, but he was constantly fighting the battle of hearts. He never forgot to tell us, to tell his audiences, that our approach, howsoever learned we might be, must be through the hearts of the people. win their hearts, and you will change their ideology. Therefore, I have no doubt that even those who are in power and whose policies might look otherwise might grow with time. India will not break up any longer. India will find its means to carry itself forward, whatever challenges it might have to face. Please have trust in your own strength and you will win. Please believe that you are not going to lose a battle and you will not lose. The battle of unity, like many other battles that we have fought, will continue. But let us have confidence that we will win that battle, that the victory ultimately has to be those of forces that stand for truth, that stand for non-violence, that stand for progress through the hearts. And things might appear to change for a while, but they will not change forever. I am one of those who has this trust and this great confidence in the people and whose voices and the power whose voice you were just now voicing. Let us therefore, as stalwarts of the media, as the cream of the Gyanis sitting here, let us vow to ourselves that the challenges that are being counted and recounted to us, that have been counted and recounted to us through the generations, that we have learned to face through history, that our genes are full of elements that will show themselves and shine themselves over time, and that when India wins, we shall all win. I do not stand for politics. I am not a politician. I have no ideology except love of my country. But I have faith in my nation. And a nation that could throw the mightiest power on earth with not even claws in the clutches like Shivaji is a nation that can win any battle, any time, on this earth, now or hereafter. But as Punyani ji told us, we have to work for it, and work we shall. I'm sure that you will move out of this hall with that resolve. I cannot thank Arunaji enough for carrying out the legacy of this great man, this great freedom fighter, this great leader that is known to us as Upendra Vajpayee. That is now history, that is now a legend, and in whose memory we hold this memorial lecture year after year. I have no words to thank all of you present here who stood by Vajpayee ji in his lifetime and who are standing by Aruna ji after it, and who would help us carry that legacy forward. I am thankful and cannot be thankful enough to our learned speaker, whose lecture, whose sermon, whose advice has been an eye-opener to us. I am thankful to Mahendra Vedji for his very wise comments after an equally wise lecture. And I could not have been more fortunate than speaking to an audience which has amongst us a leader of spirituality, an embodiment of spiritual and ethical codes in him, Rinpoche, the closest associate of His Holiness the Dalai Lama that I have known for the last 60 years of my life. I thank you all for your kind presence, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity of sharing my thoughts with you. Thank you very much indeed.
All of you are invited to have a cup of tea with us outside. Please don't go without taking the key. Thank you.